because projections, they're showing us what is within us. So we can't really hide or run away really from ourselves. All we can do is prolong the facing of our deepest fears, or just prolonging the actual unification with that which you dislike, maybe. So this mind, or this myself, in relationships, most of the time there is a story playing out. There is the sufferer, the victim, or the abuser. There is the one that is hurting, the one that is not fulfilled, the one that is not being heard or understood. In either way or another, there is a victim and there's an abuser. We're playing these roles out, whether subtly or very obviously. And this is this individual self struggling, trying to find the way through into peace, happiness, love, divinity, freedom with that partner. But until the story remains. So just to clarify a bit about the story, maybe you have friendships. Yeah, you have friends, like a girlfriend or a boyfriend, and it all happens so naturally. Yeah, there is no drama, there is no triggers, there's like nothing. There's no effort. There's a relationship that just happens. And it's like, wow, this is so beautiful. There's no mind in it. There's no me, and there's no you, and there's no trying to discuss with each other anything. It's just so natural. And I'm sure you have this experience, maybe not with your partner, but maybe with a friend, for example, where things just happen and you're not like trying anything. It's so natural. There's so much openness. And you recognize in these kind of relationships, actually, there are no thoughts, there are no stories involved. Things just happen. And it's so naturally, and it's so open, and it's so spontaneous, it's effortless. Well, if you have had that kind of experience, there, is where a relationship doesn't even exist. There is no room for relationship because it already is naturally happening open with no thoughts about anything about this relationship. No effort, no story, no insecurity, no jealousy. Like there's none of that. It's just open spontaneity, open joy and love. And there's like nothing else to it. And there it's a relationship of no relationship. It's the one consciousness being meeting itself when there is no effort, there's no push and pull. It is one already. It is recognized as one already. Thus, there is no need for anything, and there's no expectation to these kinds of relationships. They just happen. There's no mind expecting it to be like this or like that. And in any way it turns, you're fine with it. Yeah, you're totally open and fine with all of it. Because there is no mind, no individuality in that particular relationship. Now, this kind of non-dual relationship, which is also quite paradoxically, because non-dual relationship has no relationship as such. in it, but as so to communicate and understand what we are discussing, we mention it. We mention it. This can be experienced maybe easily with some friends, although some friends, can, when there is some triggers happening between friends, of course, that's quite individual, and there is triggers and healing and stories and things to discuss and things to communicate. And you see, that is quite dualistic. There's two minds in the way, trying to figure it out, trying to fulfill themselves, trying to unify, but yet it's not happening. Of course, it is more difficult to experience non-dual relationships in an intimate relationship, but it is possible. It is possible when you take responsibility to heal your pains and your insecurities, owning your stuff. And also, this is very important. And this is a question I would like to ask you actually. When you are in relation with someone, you think, whom are you really relating with? When there are these stories, my stories, my sufferings, my lacks, we can recognize that most of the time we are actually not in relationship with our partners, but we're actually in relationship with our thoughts. Because the thoughts that realm in our mind over and over and over, they create our reality. We create with the thoughts the stories of our life, of the individual self. So it is quite dualistic when we know how much suffering humanity goes through to feel that connection with another, to feel heard, to feel acknowledged, to feel seen, loved, taken care of, whatever it is for you that you really desire from your partner. And yet, there's something really in your way. And what's in your way is what you actually are in relationship with. Your emotions, your insecurities, your ideas of the relationship, what you perceive of the relationship, the thoughts that realm in your head over and over again. You are actually in relationship with that, not with your partner. So then you have these two minds, two stories playing out. And there is no space. The space I'm talking about, absence of individuality, absence of mind, absence of my story. There's no space. It's all filled up with my story and his story. And until we have these clouds of stories which are made of thoughts and emotions, it's impossible. It's impossible to find effortless living being in relationships. Then what starts happening once both beings start to maybe meditate, look at themselves, they start to find pockets of emptiness, pockets of absence of individuality, mind, thoughts. And those gaps, those empty spaces, once they start meeting, they start to glimpse into the one, because there is where you actually truly meet as the one consciousness. So you can look at it in this, analogy of like seeing this person holding a huge cloud, and that huge cloud is all covered up. Can't see anything of any space or absence of individuality. It's all filled up with my story. But once the clouds start to clear, like clear pockets start to clear, those pockets are the actual one consciousness coming through, the non-dual being coming through. And those spaces can give a relationship, glimpses of what it is to have no mind, no individuality, no protection, no boundaries, no agenda, no story. There's nothing of the individual self. But yet, it is where the true fulfillment is. It is where the true love exists. It is where the true one exists. So we come to see that the mind, the thoughts, this limited person, beliefs and ideas is actually what limits us to experience, divinity, to experience profound divine love, unconditional love. And in non-dual relationships, when they unfold and happen in one's own perspective, there is no more relationship. It's not happening in that way of seeing. There is no push and pull. You worked through the duality into the one consciousness, into the one being, into the no mind reality, existence, purity. And of course, things might come up anyways. It is not like a frozen picture of any kind. But what comes up, it's basically that which, needs your attention to heal, make peace with, invite it back into your heart, so that you can heal that fragment of yourself, isn't it? So actually by owning that dislike or discomfort, it's actually a really great thing when you own it, when you feel it, when you don't deny it, because you're coming one step closer to freedom. You're coming one step closer to true love, true peace. And that can really and only be found within you. It can really and only be found within you. Once it is found within you, then what happens is this. Then you're not in need for someone to love you as such. You are not in need for someone to acknowledge you, hear you. You're not in need because it's already been found. The real thing has already been found. So you can really relax. You can really start to be yourself. And because those needs and insecurities are not there anymore, you don't have any expectations. Things just happen, but they happen not carelessly. They happen in alignment with your soul and your consciousness and your beingness. So your alignment now starts to shift. They shift into a higher alignment. So there's more trust, there's more allowance, and whatever, it doesn't matter however it unfolds, the relationship. It really doesn't matter. It's not something that is discussed. Who even cares? Because the soul, it moves. The soul moves according to what the soul needs to experience. And that's what really matters at the end of it. When you leave this body, when you so-called, people say, when you die, you actually don't die, by the way, you just transform into a different form. So, when you want to look at your life, you want to make sure that you're really, trusting your soul to guide you on what is best for you to experience being in this body, experiencing this humanly experience.